two in the back, and then I'm going to stop. Yes?
Should teaching social justice in schools really be a priority when some of our students aren't being taught math and science properly? And also, could you comment on your earlier comment about Michelle Rhee and her journey to bring accountability to DC schools?
I don't think she's bringing accountability. I think she's bringing a narrowing. I mean, look, the problem with what's called accountability, that's another example where we're kind of in a metaphor more, where you say accountability and you immediately think, hold those goddamn teachers accountable for test scores. That's what accountability means. I have a different way of looking at accountability. I think the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, and the United States of America should be accountable for the fact that kids in Chicago get far less than kids in Winnetka. That's wrong. It's wrong in a democracy. So I want the government to be accountable to the parents. That's one. So I want to change the frame. But here's the other thing about the notion that we've all bought, that accountability is kind of good and tests are one way of seeing whether anybody's doing anything. If what you say to teachers is you will be judged on two things, on whether your kids raise their scores slightly on a reading test, which is disconnected from it, and whether they raise their scores slightly on a math test. That's what you're going to be judged on. You don't have to be brilliant as a teacher to know that that's what you're going to do. So in Chicago, we have no arts, we have no physical education, we have no sports, we have no clubs, we have no games, we have no involvement in civic responsibility or community, service. Why should we? That's not how you're going to judge a teacher. But if you had an accountability system that said, a testing system, an assessment system that said, the 25 things that we actually charge our schools with doing are the things we're going to look at, then yes, the schools would look different. So none of you guys, none of you in this room went to schools where all they did was drill and kill on reading and math. You didn't go to that school. And even Chester Finn and Diane Ravitch, the two conservative education critics who served in the Reagan administration, even those two came out a month ago and said if No Child Left Behind is reauthorized, the only schools in America that will teach citizens are rich suburban schools and rich private schools. The rest of the kids are going to get screwed. And that's what's happening in Chicago. So I think, no, I think we should not judge a school or a kid. And think about your own life. I mean, you guys come from, as I do, you come from privilege. And so the chance of recovering when you make a mistake, the chance of, of doing teenage things and still landing on your feet is high. But that's not true for the kids on the west side of Chicago. It seems to me that's grotesquely unfair and not worthy of education in a democracy. So you think about testing, for example. It's easy to test for things like, can you think critically? It's not hard. What if we had a high school test that said, I want you to write one paragraph in defense of gay marriage. And now I want you to write a paragraph opposing gay marriage. And cite your sources and, use evidence and argument. That'd be a good test. But that's not what we're doing. We're doing the stupidest kind of testing for the lowest level. So that's, in general, the other thing, I think, is that the SAT is just a gate. The SATs are just a gate. We were debating something at my college about what exams we would use to get into the PhD program. And I said, the SATs are just a gate. Whatever you got on your SAT and you sweated it out and you really had to do well so you could get to, Pitzer and whatever, right? Nobody ever asks you what you got on your SAT after you get there. Isn't that true? And one of my colleagues said, he's 50 or 60 years old, he said, and I've been pissed about that ever since I got an 800 over math. Nobody's ever asked me. So he got to say it. But nobody cares. It's a gate. It's a gate you go through. It's not a predictor of much, but it is a gate you have to go through so you can get into a college like this. So, my kids took AP Physics and did very well on the math exams and all that. And then one went to Brown, and one went to Yale, one went to Cal. And they never took another science class in their lives. What was the point? What was all that? Well, it was a gate. It was a proof that you could do it. And I don't know that that's worth very much in terms of an educated citizen. Really, it's a waste of money. Somebody else, last person. Yes, sir.
I think it's interesting that you call education a right. What's a right to you, and do you think any are being abused right now in this country?
Say it again, please.
What is a right to you, and do you think any are being abused right now in this country?
What is a right to me, and do I think any are being abused? I'm not sure where you're going with that. A right is something that's kind of, what's a right? I carry around with me the UN Declaration of Human Rights. I think that's a good place to start. And one of the things it says in Article 1, sorry, it's all been through the laundry a few times. Messed up. But Article 1, which I think is really important, this is a right. After the preamble, Article 1, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They're endowed with reason and conscience and should act toward one another in a spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood. That's a pretty good place to start. Very hard standard to live up to, but it's a good place to start. And it makes me want to end by reading a little passage. Could I? Just a little short thing. Okay, let me read this. You got to think who wrote this, okay? As I was finishing up at my table, a man in a thin wool sweater appeared out of nowhere and asked if he could buy me coffee. He spoke no English, and his Spanish wasn't much better than mine, but he had a winning smile and the urgency of someone in need of company. We were both on our way to Barcelona from Madrid. Standing at the bar, he told me he was from Senegal and was crisscrossing Spain for seasonal work. He showed me a battered photograph he kept in his wallet of a young girl with a round, smooth face. His wife, he said. He had to leave her behind, but he hoped they would reunite soon. What was his name? I couldn't remember now. Just another hungry man far away from home. One of the many children of the former colonies, Algerians, West Indians, Pakistanis, now breaching the barricades of their former masters, mounting their own ragged, haphazard invasion. And yet, as we walked toward the Ramblas, I had felt as if I knew him as well as any man, that coming from opposite ends of the earth, we were somehow on the same journey. I settled on the fact that this man from Senegal had bought me coffee and offered me water, and that was real, and maybe that was all any of us had a right to expect. The chance encounter, a shared story, the act of small kindness, and the possibility of a new world. Who wrote that? Barack Obama, Dreams of My Father, page 302. And I think it's interesting, again, that a man with consciousness like this is in that place. It doesn't tell me he's going to save us. It tells me we better save him by building a movement for justice